I'm that other dude, Andrew, and as always, I'm joined by Heather.
Hello.
And today we are going to be recording episode number 135, which is always exciting.
Yes.
So as per with the new format, we're going to start back in antiquity with a band that I discovered during a deep dive on the internet. The category typically has been Doom, so I'm looking at, old school Doom bands. This one, actually, we're not going to go too far back. This one is a band that split in 2014. I don't remember when they originally started, but they are a band called Moonless from Copenhagen, and they released an album called Calling All Demons in 2011. And the track that I picked to play is called Horn of the Ram. So when I listened to it, my description was that it's just a throwback to some really solid Doom. It's a shame that they've split up because I feel like they could have been one of those bands that took the torch and kept it going. The Horn of the Ram is a jam, and I didn't even set out to make that rhyme. The song reminded me of something, and the vocals too, but I couldn't really put my finger on it, so I just let it kind of be its own thing. Regardless, it's definitely worth checking out. I think they only released the one album, Calling All Demons, so it's worth looking if you're a fan of Doom. I would say check it out. Typically, for these unearthed things, I tend to go back to the 70s in the very beginning, but this one was one of those, the algorithm suggested it, and I'm a slave to the algorithm. So that's how I operate.
Yeah.
Moving right along to the present, we have the acronym WHHBLT, which is what has Heather been listening to? So I will hand you the reins.
Okay. Well, first off, we have the band Puscifer and the song The Humbling River.
Why can't I cross this river? Pay no mind to the battles you've won. It will take a lot more than rage and muscle. Open your heart and hands, my son, or you'll never make it over the river. It'll take a lot more than words and guns, a whole lot more than riches and muscle. The hands of the many must join as one, and together we'll cross the river. It'll take a lot more than words and guns.
And the reason reason I wanted to include this song because it's one of my favorite songs of all time. And I'm a big Tool fan. And through Tool, that I also listened to Puscifer. So besides being a beautiful song, that's really quite simple, it's the lyrics that are powerful and profound. And Maynard sings beautifully, and then later in the song, he's joined by Karina Round, and together they sound really amazing. And that's kind of what the song is about. Um, it takes more than brute strength to cross a river, and whatever your river may be. And sometimes, and more often than not, you need help crossing the river. And that's what this song talks about. And I just think the lyrics, I just love the lyrics, and I love the way he sings this song. And together you can cross the river.
Absolutely. It's interesting because so Puscifer, I guess, is technically based in Los Angeles. Um, Although I know Maynard Keenan, the lead singer, spends most of his time in Jerome, Arizona, at where I think he resides. It's interesting because members, he and Adam Jones of Tool did a guest spot on the TV show Mr. Show with Bob Odenkirk and David Cross, where they played a fake band called Puscifer. And I'm not sure if that is where the name, he took the name for that. I read on, I think it was Wikipedia, but it was a quote attributed to him. So he has Tool, and then he's got A Perfect Circle, which is Billy Howardell's project that he is the singer for. And then he said Puscifer was sort of where he could let his ideas marinate, between his ego, his id, and his superego, like musically, stuff that wouldn't fit for Tool, but that he would still want to do. This would be sort of a project that he could allow for that to happen. So, yeah, the Humbling River is off of C4, and then in parentheses, please insert sophomoric genitalia. So there is. It was interesting because, like, the vibe and the presentation of Puscifer is that it's going to be like a lot of toilet humor, but then you listen to the music and you realize that that's not the case at all. It's just that's like the visual impression, is that there's going to be a lot of things that are sort of incongruent with the music. And this is really a haunting and beautiful song. You mentioned Karina Round singing with him. I think his son Devo also participates at some point in the song. And yeah, I copied down my favorite parts of the lyrics are braved the forests, braved the stone. It'll take a lot more than words and guns. Braved the icy winds and fire, a whole lot more than riches and muscle. Braved and beat them on my own. The hands of many must join as one, and together we'll cross the river. So, yeah. As you mentioned, it's sort of a beautiful parable that even if you're not, I mean, it's certainly not, a lot of the music that we cover is sort of underground heavy. Technically, I guess Puscifer is underground because they're not, on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, but this is certainly not a heavy song.
Right.
So I think if you're a fan of music at all, you will like this song. They're really, I couldn't see anyone going into this, and being like, yeah, this doesn't resonate with me. So, yeah, very surprised at the choice, but when you mentioned it was one of your favorite songs, it certainly made sense.
Yeah. I might start including, because you know, I'm a big fan of music from the 90s, and you know, and I might incorporate some more of my all-time favorite songs
Sure.
as we go along. So yes, and then the song "I Am Demon," which great by Grave Disgrace, but it's originally a Danzig song. So they did a cover of this song, "I Am Demon." And I thought it was really cool that they covered a Danzig song. I like how this is just straight up rock and roll. This is a fun song, and I like it when bands are willing to cover songs that are classics. And this was first released by Danzig in 1988. So to go back and cover bands like this and songs from that time period, I think is really cool. Especially, I'm sure there's a lot of people that have not heard these songs before. So I think it's cool that bands bring these back and cover them, and they kind of put their own spin on them. I thought they kept the song, I thought they made it sound more modern, but I felt like they kept the essence of what Danzig was. So there's a killer guitar riff, and I think that's always fun, and sometimes it's fun to go back and enjoy things from the past and reimagine older music.
Yeah, Grave Disgrace is from St. Petersburg, Russia. I think we had listened to them on episode 131, or one of the previous episodes we listened to. They have an album called Visions of Tomorrow, which is really good. They are a great band. I was very happy to see a Danzig cover. I'm a fan of Danzig and that album. They didn't. It was cool because they don't really reinvent the wheel here. You know, sometimes, like I guess on a spectrum between tributes and covers and whatnot, you can get, like, on the one hand note for note, and then on the other hand you can get when Tori Amos covered Raining Blood by Slayer, and it's really difficult to even tell it's the same song most of the time. They did a great job keeping the intensity of the original and bringing sort of some distortion to it, which I really thought, like you had said, kind of updated the song and modernized it a little bit. But and that single, I think, came out a little over a week ago. So definitely worth checking out Grave Disgrace and their cover of Am I Demon, but also Visions of Tomorrow and the rest of their catalog.
Yeah. Yeah. And then a band called Demonic Death Judge. The song is called 90s Violence. and this is the first single released. Their album is called Absolutely Launched, and that's coming out in April. So this is the first single off of this new album. And this is really heavy. So their vocalist describes the single as John McTiernan, John McClane, a kerosene fire inferno, and large caliber guns. Everything was better in the naughty 90s, and a little bit of violence never hurt anyone, right? That's how he describes it. So I think that's great, and oh man, I love it. Crank this one up to 11, definitely. And I can't wait to hear the more and what the rest of the album is going to sound like.
Yeah, Demonic Death Judge from Finland.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is Heather gives me the bands and the titles a couple of days ahead of time. And when you gave me this one, all I got was Demonic Death Judge and that it was a single called 90s Violence. So my first thought is, okay, this is going to be like slow, sludgy, like club you over the head with a bat that has nails driven through it. So when I put the track on, it turned out to be a juggernaut of a song. Like, it was intense, much faster tempo than I had thought. Really hard rocking, but it doesn't give you an inch. Like, there's no breathing room. Like, when the song ended, I felt like I had gone 15 rounds with someone. And yeah, I think I accidentally saw the cover of the upcoming album, and there's a movie with Val Kilmer, I think, his first starring role. It's called Top Secret. It was a Zucker Brothers film, the same people who did Airplane and The Naked Gun. And it was a takeoff on like spy movies and surfing movies and stuff. So the beginning of it, they have all these Beach Boy inspired songs that revolve around surfing while shooting. And the cover of the upcoming album has a guy with a shotgun while he's surfing. So I'm wondering if that influenced their visual choice at all.
Oh, that would be cool if it did. Yeah.
But I did not know about the John McTiernan, John McClane kerosene quote, but that's awesome. So I'm excited to hear the album when it gets released next month.
Yeah. And then going to kind of switch gears and go Greenleaf. And the song is called Sold My Lady, and in parentheses, out of the back of the Oldsmobile. That's a great title. So this is also a single. It's they have a new record coming out, Revolution Rock Deluxe, March 28th. That's going to be out, and this song is what they released, and they've been a band for 25 years and are reissuing their earliest releases and to celebrate that. So this is like a re-release of their debut, and then they added a few more songs to it. I think some of their early work. So their love of the 70s, I think, really shines through, And when people are posting comments like, take my money, uh, yes, take my money. I know that this is something good. So I love the concept of this album, and congratulations to 25 years. Greenleaf, that's one hell of an accomplishment.
Yeah, Greenleaf is from Sweden. Again, like with 90s violence, I just saw the title of the track, Sold My Old Lady, and then in parentheses, out the back of an Oldsmobile. So it's a hard rockin' jam. And then I was thinking, are the lyrics meant to be taken literal? Because he says that he has his old lady in the trunk. Really cool sort of stoner rock, hard rock vibe to it. And I went looking for the lyrics, and I ended up finding a forum on classicoldsmobile.com in which someone had asked, like, for song lyrics that mention Oldsmobiles. And I was because they mentioned this song. Why isn't this coming up? All right, I'm trying to. Uh-oh. I've been denied access.
Uh-oh.
Okay, well, there's a Bryan Adams song that mentions an Oldsmobile, so they had the lyrics for that. My personal favorite, and I didn't, you had to tell me what this was when I ran it by you, but a 442 is an Oldsmobile. And when I looked it up, it said the 442 name, pronounced 442, derives from the original car's 4-barrel carburetor, 4-speed manual transmission, and dual exhausts. It was originally written 442 with badging showing hyphens between the numerals and remained hyphenated throughout Oldsmobile's use of the designation. And the song was Jerry Was a Race Car Driver by Primus, and the lyric is, and he had a Puscifer sticker on his 442, and he'd light him up just for fun. And until this morning, I never knew what a 442 was. Because I'm from New York City. I've never owned a car. I'm not a car guy. And yeah, so that was really enlightening to know now that what a 442 is and how it's pronounced. Anyway, yeah. Check out now Greenleaf has a song that can be added to that list, recognizing Oldsmobile.
Yeah, all the way in Sweden.
All the way from Sweden.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, today it's interesting. We've got Los Angeles, Russia, Sweden, Finland. We tend to do that.
Yeah. And then the submission that we got is from Seum, and they're from Canada. And it's called Conjuring, and it's a split with Temple of the Fuzz Witch. They're from Detroit, Michigan. But this came out February 21st, and there's 3 songs by Temple of the Fuzz Witch: Effigy, Eternal Lamentation, and Vow of Shades. And then there's 3 songs by Seum, and that's Dead Ear, Problems, and Efreet. And some sent this to us before it was released, but we weren't able to get to it. So I'm hoping it's okay with them that we talk about it now, because it was released February 21st. They wrote that Conjuring is an opportunity to invoke and overcome some of our intimate issues like disability in the song Dead Ear, and then addiction in the song Efreet, and aging in the song Problems.
sitting in my cubicle today and I realized, ever since I started working, every single day of my life has been worse than the day before.
The album cover is by French tattoo artist Claporte. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. And Chris Fielding, known for his work with Conan, was who mastered the album. I thought that was kind of neat. This is really cool because it's combining, Temple of the Fuzz, which is really heavy, like blackened doom, and then some is like really heavy sludge, but they kind of have like a punk type attitude. So I thought these two bands together, I think, is a perfect fit. And whoever came up with this idea, that was a great idea. Both bands and then Black Throne Productions, I saw, had albums, like the record album that you could pre-order, is available on both artist pages and Black Throne Production. I saw they had it on their website too. You can pre-order the record. It's a black and red splatter, so it's pretty cool. And it looks like it's limited, so I'd definitely hurry up and order that.
Yeah, there are a couple of bands that I feel are like our children. Like we watch them some had, I think, just begun playing when they landed on our radar, and so we've been there since the very beginning. They've done a live stream for the show before. We've spoken to them, we've interviewed them. They've released a couple of albums that we've covered. So they obviously hold a very special place in the Happy Hour with Heather and Guest world. And I'm really glad they reached out to talk about this split. I was not as familiar with Temple of the Fuzz Witch. This morning when I went back to look at their records, there was one that I recognized the album cover. It's like purple with someone with a gas mask on the face. But yeah, it's interesting because I think I read something near where you got the quote about the songs. I guess some had mentioned when Black Throne reached out to propose a split with Occult King's Temple of the Fuzz Witch, we took some time to reflect on how we could make this project cohesive while being so different musically. Digging back to past traumas was our answer, and to get into the right creative mood. Inspiration flowed naturally from there and brought our heaviest songs to date. So these are definitely some of their heavier songs, and they succeeded because I listened to the entire album, and I didn't see whose track, like how it was split up. And when I was listening to when I was listening to the song Foul of Shades, which is a Temple of the Fuzz Witch song, I thought it was Some because there's a bass guitar riff that sort of opens the song, and Some has always been very bass heavy. So you did mission accomplished. I thought all the songs went really well together. They're all great. It's a split. It's a wonderful split. I'm glad that these two bands were put together, and that now Temple of the Fuzz Witch is on my radar. But yeah, this was awesome. I hope more people should go out and buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, get that record. Yeah, and I'm so happy that they keep reaching out to us, and
yeah,
I think it's great. Yeah.
It is. I feel it's like our kids are all grown up.
Yes.
Yeah, I learned a lot today. I learned what a 4/4/2 was.
Yeah.
I revisited some 90s violence.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, this was We got some stuff I wasn't familiar with, some stuff I'd heard before,
Some stuff to revisit.
some stuff to revisit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely check out all these bands. They are definitely worth your time. But yeah, this was cool. A lot of good music.
Yeah, I agree. So I'll try to come up with a good list for our next recording.
Yeah, we'll be back with episode 136. And as always, if you're a musician out there and you want us to review your stuff, just send it right along. And I will keep spelunking the depths of the internet to find good doom. And Heather's always listening to music. So
Yeah.
we will not. There is plenty of music for us to review. We will keep trying to shine a light.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Bye.